Code is a powerful tool that can be leveraged to improve your financial health. Programmers are paid well in the job market, and if you can happen to build an all-star app, you can start a company and never have to work again. Now, you've probably seen a lot of roadmaps out there with titles like How to Get Rich Learning X Language. Unfortunately, programming isn't that easy or straightforward. So instead, I will give you a quick overview of how I got into tech, and hopefully you can take some inspiration from my story. Just a quick note, when I say ultimate developer roadmap, I don't necessarily mean a roadmap that's going to guarantee you your desired job and salary after 3 months. Merely that this provides you the skills and the experience that you need while you're learning to eventually get you to your goals no matter what path you actually take. Because every path is different and you might not make your initial goal right out of the gate. To be clear, I already had programming experience as a game dev before I got into web dev. But the path that I took for game dev follows a similar base pattern. To start, I didn't know how to code for the web, so I bought some courses on Udemy to get started. They usually have some great deals going on, and I bought both the full stack web dev course from Dr. Angela Yu and a JavaScript course from Jonas Schmetman. Both of these courses were excellent, and I highly recommend them if you want to learn the basics on how to get into web development. I started with the full stack course, which started me off easy with HTML, CSS, and Bootstrap. As I progressed, I made static websites whenever I learned a new skill. Most of them look like garbage from the 90s and early 2000s, but it built my ability to write practical code from scratch. Eventually, I was able to make decent-looking static web pages with my newfound skills, but they weren't yet interactive. It was then I learned JavaScript. Now, when it came to practicing new skills, I still made my own sites like a math practice site, but Jonas's course at the time that I took it had several projects that you could take on. These were helpful in understanding how everything worked together, but I'd still recommend you making your own apps from scratch, or at the very least, making your own functional customizations to those project apps. Now, I did this before I finished the JavaScript course, but I would still recommend taking on this project when you're fully done. I decided that I want to make a fully functional front-end web app that could be used in a portfolio, or in my case, for business. I decided I wanted to make a demo for my financial literacy web app known as Trinity Capital. It worked totally on local storage and had full features including video lessons, simulated transactions, and more. The reason why I recommend waiting until you're done with your JS course though is because I couldn't actually finish the demo without finishing the course anyway because I hadn't learned some of the skills that I needed to finish the code. After that, I headed back to the full stack course to finally start learning the backend and database skills. Now, I'd recommend waiting again until you're fully done to start making a full stack app, but once again, started working on the full version of Trinity Capital as soon as I started learning the backend skills. Speaking of, in web development, you definitely want to learn Node.js because its runtime environment fully supports JavaScript, meaning you won't have to learn a whole new language just to run your code on the server. You have other options like the .NET framework with C#, but if you want to use JavaScript, Node is the way to go. As a quick side note, Dr. Yu's course took us through other frameworks such as Express and tools like EJS. She also taught MongoDB and NoSQL. However, at the time of me making this video, the course has been updated to remove MongoDB, NoSQL, and even MySQL in favor of Postgre. After we learned backend code, we started to learn about databases, particularly the difference between SQL and NoSQL, the SQL framework MySQL, and MongoDB and Mongoose. I chose MongoDB for Trinity Capital because how the data is stored in my database is a lot more complex. Now, as I learned all these things, I implemented them into Trinity Capital until eventually I was able to continue developing it on my own. At this point, you will have completed your course and you can start thinking about the type of app that you want to make. You have to base your project on where you're going to take your career. Are you wanting a job in tech or do you want to start a business? Do your research to help come up with ideas based on what you actually want to do in tech. This is the part where paths can diverge, and you now have to do outside work in order to be successful. I took the entrepreneur route, which required me to research how to run a business, reach out to my local school districts, learn about their procurement methods, and apply to RFPs and many other things. If you're looking to get a job in tech, your outside work can include studying for tech interviews, slamming in leak code questions, networking, and perhaps even adding more projects into your portfolio. Every developer's path is different, and this was mine. The goal of this video was to show you that learning is good, but doing is better. No matter where your developer path takes you, always be coding. If you code enough and make good enough products, you'll eventually get into whatever destination you're aiming for. So what say you? Are you looking for a job in tech, or are you trying to make the next billion-dollar app? Let me know in the comments and share your stories. I'd love to hear them and offer encouragement. Like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.